At the 2021 Tokyo Summer Olympics, athletes who medaled in Taekwondo represented United States, Israel, Tunisia, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Thailand, and others. This remarkably diverse set of countries show that Taekwondo has really spread all across the world. But how did a martial art from a small country on the edge of Northeast Asia become so popular? Multiple factors contribute to Taekwondo coming out of Korea and going abroad. But for most, we find that Taekwondo went where Koreans went.
You have Taekwondo being taken overseas for different reasons, including things like the Vietnam War, including slow trickle of immigration to the United States and to Canada. But all of this period, up until I would say the 80s and, maybe the early 90s, it's really up to the Koreans who find themselves overseas that are teaching Taekwondo and suddenly find, I would say more by accident than by design, that they can teach this martial art and actually make it into a small business and make a living off of it. Another push factor that's more recent is a couple of things happen in the educational landscape of South Korea. Many more programs are now producing undergraduate Taekwondo majors who then, guess what? The next natural choice is to open a Taekwondo school. And when you get a complete saturation in South Korea, because there are so many Taekwondo schools in South Korea, and there's also over the years a drop in demographics, Koreans are having fewer and fewer children, you have this surplus of people who are trained in Taekwondo up to an undergraduate degree. And where do they go? They go overseas.
Traveling with Koreans, Taekwondo found its home in many countries abroad. But what made it so attractive?
You have the proliferation, I would say, of martial arts films that start to make their way around the world and also to, North America, that get people really interested in this ancient practice that is both a mental discipline and a physical discipline of the highest order. And so the arrival of early martial arts films alongside the slow kind of popping up of martial arts studios in North America that bring with them practices of bowing, a kind of minimalist aesthetic. You walk into a school and it's not flashy. It doesn't have all these neon signs. It doesn't have it's just sort of mats and white walls, and you bow to the instructor and maybe you'll meditate for a couple of minutes. And then you're maybe speaking a foreign language because you count in that language and you learn the names of the kicks. So they bring in this really exotic flavor that has clearly all these other benefits that have to do with focus and discipline and mind control.
The reason I did Taekwondo is because it was what found me when I was young, but also the reason I stuck with it was because of the attitude, the mindset that those 5 tenets bring, that Taekwondo brings. So while all martial arts are fantastic, I love that we have that structure that it brings to all ages of, especially learning things like indomitable spirit and building that culture of never give up, keep trying, keep pushing. And that there's always more to do. There's always a bigger, better opponent to compete against, and you can always grow and improve to beat them.
And I think that also coincides with more disposable income that, let's say, middle-class families have in the United States, where they're looking for after-school activities for their children. So I think to think about the pull factors, you also have to look at the society and economy of North America at this time and other places as well.
Where the sport is headed in the future is unclear, especially following the difficulties many schools face during COVID-19. But if it remains both a mainstay of early childhood education and international competition, it certainly owes its successes to those who took it upon themselves to teach it and those who found their calling and learned it.
I think that one of the most important things I've learned over the years in martial arts is humility, and being able to look back and remember that none of us got to where we are by ourselves. We all were able to achieve what we've done and gone as far as we have because of the success of those who came before us.